All right. Hello again, adventures, and welcome to another exciting episode of The Legend of the Three Kingdoms. Yes, this is one of my custom D&D homebrew games set in my weird, messed up... Actually, now it's set up in a screwed up demi-plane that's somehow connected to my weird, messed up homebrew campaign setting. And the people below me are the people that are probably regretting that they gave me agency over their characters at this point. So yeah, hi everybody. Sorry, this particular stream has been so inconsistent. Since, I kid you not, since just after Christmas, I have been plagued with food poisoning, I think 4 times now. And every single time it has taken longer and longer to recover. So yeah, on any given day, I can either be doing mostly fine, or be doubled over in my bed, praying to God for hours upon end to make the pain stop. So, yes, I'm hoping to be a little bit more consistent now that I think the worst is past. But now that I've said that, yeah. So let's get back to our screwed up little game here. So. It's time for us to return to the legend of the Three Kingdoms. The party had been sent to a strange new land and separated over space and to the time, some of them arriving a year before others, and all of them being trapped in their own personal hell. Finally, Commander Shisha showed up, and something was different, and he started breaking things. First heading over and breaking our Gigenta out of the endless cycle of combat and death she had found herself in. Then going to the north and getting Henri out of the cycle of murder and repentance he had found himself in. Then they went north even further through the disappearing mists, only to get lost in there and be saved by Vala, who had become her own worst nightmare. Cursed with privilege and power and forced to use it entirely against people like her. After dealing with an incident in Ilmorn, where Vala had been for many months, the party decided to head south through Middenwall, the largest and central city in Crucitalia, the land they now inhabit, and then continue to the southeast to a small village named Scornmote. As they approached, they were met by a pair of acolytes for the local church to the Dark Lady. And as they came up upon the acolytes, one of them looked surprisingly familiar. So, you all have just stopped. You're about a mile outside of the town. Lillian, you know this is generally where you meet any visitors to Scornmote that are not regular visitors. Mostly to talk to them about the various, not really rules, but guidelines and suggestions that the local church had for any visitors in order to avoid. Thank you for the phone. In order to avoid any sort of conflict or problems in the city. And as you could come up dressed in your robes with your two friends and fellow acolytes, the first person you notice is a rather well-dressed Vala, whom you haven't seen since you got here. You weren't even aware she was still alive. And as it kind of dawns on you who it is, you notice the rest of this traveling group is Commander and Argenta and Henri, though they look somewhat different than your memory tells you. They look like they've seen a fair amount. You can see the stress of whatever they've been through has aged them all. Except Commander. Commander looks the closest to what you remember all those months ago. What would you all like to do?
I am keeping my distance in case I have another episode.
Okay. And Lillian, you would, from having done this many times, you would notice a person purposefully keeping their distance, because that's one of the things you've kind of been trained to spot. So you can tell other clerics and priests in the order to watch out for that particular person.
Sorry, do we recognize Lillian?
I
thought I remember something about her appearance being different.
Well, I remember I was in dark robes. I didn't have any of my armor.
Yeah, this.
And I didn't give me the sword that you were right.
So I'll let you roll just a perception check to see if you recognize her. But if you do, it is just her face. The rest of her is so incredibly different. Even how she holds herself is massively different. So it would be very understandable for you to not recognize her.
14.
Yeah, just a casual glance doesn't do anything other than something about one of the acolytes seems relatively familiar. But you know from your own experience, especially with how in the knowledge you were in Ilmorn, temples in general are not very looked upon very fondly here because most of the populace worships Lord Noctis and consider him sort of a semi. He's not a god, but he has been kind of elevated to deific standard. And so having not only a temple here, but a temple large enough that it has acolytes that come out and meet people in some sort of official capacity is very strange compared to everywhere else you've been.
Got it.
Do we have a standard for season between can we be with it or
you have a pamphlet. Um, it's called Watchtower. I'm sorry. You do actually have one of your duties of a lot of the acolytes is actually to copy this small little booklet that you hand out to all to the travelers that basically tells them, don't make waves. You know, the church, there is a tithe imposed on all purchases that go to help the church itself. They call it a tithe, not a tax, because taxes belong to Lord Noctis. And it's basically a very long list of don't do this, don't do this, don't do this, don't do this, and they all kind of boil down to keep your head down, no magic, no weapons into the town, out of their sheaths, and if you break any of these rules, you have to deal with the church. But you
would it be reasonable to ask kind of the stereotypical custom questions
yeah,
they require there?
did it definitely, you kind of take a role of like customs officers and almost like sheriff's deputies. Again, the as much as the church has no legal authority to do anything, because of how much money the church has and how often they kind of clean up messes, that money kind of makes people defer to them. Even the local law enforcement will kind of defer to the church for anything other than combat. So, yeah, ask away. Be as inquisitive as you would want. You have been trained specifically to weed out anyone that could possibly cause issues. This is here, so you can ask as many personal questions as you will want. You're even welcome to ask them to disarm themselves, to take their weapons from them. Again, you have no legal authority, but most people will not say no to the church, and they use that to their advantage. So,
Do anyone remember the name of the tool?
that's a fantastic question. Of course, being a brilliant DM that keeps all of them, I believe one of them was William, and the other one, for the life of me, I can't remember what her name was. Let's say Terrace. I enjoy that name.
Alright,
And if we remember something differently, we can retcon things. But I enjoy the name Terrace.
alright. So,
With you,
as we approach all those as we kind of know, are you all probably wait on football or
if I remember correctly, didn't you guys take horses from
Pro-
Elmore?
I think so.
Yeah, so they're on horseback.
uh,
If if you didn't, you had the money for it, so I don't know why you wouldn't.
But it's dirty money.
Yeah, but and it was again without horseback, you were looking at like a 2-week journey, and I think you guys made it in less than a week or about a week. So
About
yeah,
a week, I think.
so horseback.
so all of the pros, um, I assume you stop. I mean,
Yeah, I assume we would stop.
Mhm.
Vala is uncharacteristically kind of like holding back. And is with Henri also holding back. She's just kind of like, keeping an eye on everything.
Uh, so I would kind of tell William and Steven to either keep an eye on Bella and me since
Mhm.
they are obviously holding back. And then I will approach whoever it was, whoever that would be.
Okay. Probably Commander
Vala or
or
Commander?
Argenta. Who wants to be in the front?
Odds, Vala. Or Commander.
Commander, we
Commander, you're
can't hear you. You may
You're
be muted.
throwing me out in front?
Well, it's either you or Argenta because both Henri and Vala have kind of
I'll
stepped
let
back
the
a little bit. So, whichever one
I'll
of you
let,
guys wants to.
I'll let the mouth do the talking.
Okay.
both of them are staying back.
Yeah, I was about to say both the charisma hounds are in the back right now. So
Okay, fine then. I'll be then I'm up front then.
okay.
Why not?
So you see
This is
these.
gonna go so well.
Yeah, you see these three people kind of approach you. They're all wearing dark robes that look kind of similar to the vestments of the Dark Lady that you would be familiar with, but they're definitely different than what you're used to seeing. The sleeves are a little bit more cut. They actually have like lapels and things. They look a little bit more suit-like than the kind of formless robes that you're used to seeing. And yeah, you notice as the two on either side kind of spread out a little bit and start just very casually encircling the group. Not enough to be considered aggressive, but definitely kind of spreading out to get a view of the entire group. And the one in the center comes forward.
I'll approach Commander then with my foot in his and I'll say, I'll try to act with a don't recognize them, and I'll say, I don't think I've seen you here before. Can I get your name?
Do I recognize her, Jody?
I'll let you roll a perception check. Again, the only thing you would recognize would be her face. Everything
Okay.
about her is so vastly different.
13.
Yeah, something about her seems familiar, but it might just be she has one of those faces.
Yeah. Okay. Uh, yeah. Well, we're looking for a friend, and we thought she might be here.
You know that was gonna be my next question. But you still haven't given me a name.
People just call me Commander.
Alright, Commander. How long,
Go ahead.
how long do you plan to be here?
As long as it takes, I guess. We need to find somebody.
Well,
They may not even be here. We don't know. We're just trying to narrow down places.
wait. Um, you don't have to be all of you.
So what was that?
Um, You don't have to have weapons on you, do you?
She's asking if you're
Yeah,
armed.
yeah.
Okay, sorry.
Uh, I mean, it'd be kind of foolish not to carry anything to protect yourself, wouldn't it?
At this point, it's almost as if the training is kind of taken over with William, and he just kind of almost blurts out, "Well, in Scornmote, we have a wonderful local guard brigade there, and we at the Temple of the Dark Lady do ensure that there is no violence inside the village itself. So, while yes, we do agree traveling these wild lands without weapons would be foolish, inside our village you are completely safe and therefore have no need of your weapons." And all of you can tell that that is a very well rehearsed line.
Well, well-rehearsed line or well-rehearsed lie?
You don't know a
Henry is
whole lot about Scornmote yet, so could be either.
Henri is trying so hard to not laugh out loud.
Uh, the two people that are with Leanne,
Mhm.
if I'm at 12, where do they at? How far do they go back to the sides? Like all the way
They
to
didn't
3
really
and
go
9?
back to the sides. They're closer to like 7:30 and 3:30.
Oh, they went that far around. Okay.
Or no, I'm sorry. I was thinking of you. If you were at 6,
Oh,
they
me.
would be. If you were at 6, they would be at 3:30 and 7:30. Flip that if you're at 12. Sorry.
Okay.
So they're spread out a little bit, but they're not surrounding you. They're just, they've spread out to be able to see the whole group a little. But they
Gotcha.
haven't gone behind you or broken basically the plane between you and them. They have not yet crossed that line.
Okay. I mean, that is wonderful that you feel so confident, but I've seen enough to know that things aren't as they seem.
That may be and again, this line comes out almost uh, uh, reflexively from Terrace. That may be true in other places, or that may not. Things may not be what they seem in other places, but here in Scornmote, you are safe. There's no need for your weapons. If you feel the need to keep them on you, you are welcome to them. However, any attempt to unsheath or use them will be grounds for us to dismiss you from the village. And the guards will not be kind.
That's very fair.
I lean into Commander and I whisper to him, "It's a cult."
Um,
You visibly see him stifle a laugh from that one. Um,
so, you say you survived someone with you by describing them.
well, they're an old friend of ours, and I would describe Lillian as far as I remembered her to her.
And it is a bit nostalgic for you to remember how you were and how you looked before getting here, Lillian.
Yeah, I was gonna say was even remember that and then the rest of the meeting.
Mhm. So I didn't get the last part of what you said.
Was William Taylor right inside that and then the rest of me?
Ooh. From what you can tell, because you basically told them to watch 2 of the 4 people here, they don't seem to be processing so much what Commander is saying. They're kind of letting you deal with the Commander and Argenta, and they're a little bit more focused on Vala and Henri. Again, whenever they spoke, they weren't even consciously thinking about it. It had been drilled into them so much that they just said it. They didn't even really break eye contact with Vala or Henri when they did it.
Um, while Commander is describing this,
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to attempt to stealthily cast Detect Thoughts.
Oh boy.
Okay.
So that way I can see if
Remind me.
if that description is ringing a bell in anybody's
Okay.
uh
Components for.
verbal, somatic, and material.
Okay. So in order to use all 3 components when you're being observed very, very closely, this is going to be a very difficult sleight of hand.
Is there any way like I can I understand. I'm just wondering if I can like play it off like I'm just like playing with the copper piece.
I'll let you use performance,
Okay.
but it will be with disadvantage because you're being watched like a hawk right now, and
Right.
you are very much aware of it. They are not attempting to. They're not attempting to hide the fact that they're watching you. You specifically are being watched by the young little lady.
Is there a question? There's no matter for that only in city limits.
Oh, Val.
Uh, Effectively, this initial meeting and other ones that you haven't been the head of because this is your first time running it. If people started casting spells in this initial meeting, it was generally a pretty good sign that they didn't need to come into the city. You personally have not been to a one of these meetings where someone's tried to cast a spell and they've been let into the city. They haven't ended violently or anything like that, but it's just a poor sign. So
I yeah, I got a natural 1.
okay, I don't need to
So
roll
a
on
total
that.
of 14.
I might still roll for that. Natural ones aren't auto fails for skill checks. Darn you, bards. See what I
Could have been a
got.
26.
It could have been a contender. Well, with the advantage they were getting from watching you like a hawk, I've got a 17 on the die.
Oh yeah.
So as you start to cast, you suddenly feel this kind of dull pain behind your left eye, like someone's just poking you right there. And you watch as the girl just kind of waves her hand in a very familiar gesture. Or actually, I don't think Counterspell has a somatic component. I believe it's only verbal. You see her kind of mouth some words, and you feel the magic leave you as the spell is countered. And she continues just staring daggers at you, saying, "If you had taken the time to read the pamphlet we gave you, you would know that casting spells is a violation of our rules and grounds for dismissal from the village.
Well,
I find it very troubling that our first interaction involves you breaking one of our rules. We have not asked for much.
I apologize. I was merely trying to perform a magic trick. I'm a traveling
Detect
magician.
Thoughts is a well-known spell.
I don't know what you're talking about. Detect thoughts? Why would I try to do that? As if you have
It's a
any.
very good question. Sister, and she turns towards you, is there anything else you'd like to ask them? And she immediately slow turns back to Vala.
No, I think that would be all. But as it said, if any of you try that again, you will remember. You will be taken by the guards and dismissed, but you really don't want any trouble.
And as you finish that statement, Vala and Henri, you guys would notice this as you're being watched by Hawks. For the first time, the two other acolytes break their vigilance on watching you and kind of turn with kind of a weird expression on their face towards the Leanne. And it's half a second that they drop their disguise, and then it's immediately back, and they're back to looking at you.
Cross my heart.
And then give commander the book and I say that you read through it to avoid any further complications.
We'll do that. I'll take the book.
And both William and Terrace kind of go back to a flanking position with Liliane. And William goes, well then, we will alert the guards that you are coming and that you know what you're not supposed to do. And they kind of turn on their heels and start walking away.
And I will follow them and over to the guard.
Okay.
And if Steven doesn't matter the matter, then I will.
Well, as soon as you're out of earshot, Terrace will kind of turn to you and go, Liam, what are you doing? She cast a spell. She cast Detect Thoughts. Any other time, that would be grounds for telling them to turn around. Why are you letting them in?
I don't know what it is.
Quick question for Commander. When you
Yes.
gave the description, did you give her name or no?
No.
Okay, then we're fine. I
Yeah.
was about to say, if you used her name, there would be another conversation we were about to have, but no name is fine. So I'm sorry for interrupting. Go ahead.
So it don't mean that's what it was.
William kind of joins in at this point. Well, you're going to have to explain it to the priest then. I sure as heck don't want to be there when you do it either. He's going to have issues. He always has issues, especially the defiant ones like that commander. I mean, who calls themselves commander?
I know, right?
It's so pretentious. Like,
Yeah.
we're supposed to know what that means? God.
Hey, commander, what?
Who knows? People like that, they're a dime a dozen. They want to feel so special. They like people looking up to them. They want to be different. It's so dumb.
Did they give us all a pamphlet or just Commander?
William and to the Terrace would have handed all of you pamphlets. And the one that she gave to Vala, there would have been just an extra smile and look down.
Fala fights the urge to cast prestidigitation to put an outline around it.
Mine's in a bush right now. I just toss it once they're out of eyesight.
Flipping through this pamphlet, do I see anything in the wording that essentially doesn't allow monsters in town?
There are specific. That's a very good question. There are specific rules around the 20s that mention no summoning of any creatures, and they actually list every single creature you could or creature type you could think of. No raising of undead, no summoning of fey creatures, no summoning of elemental creatures or other non-planar or ultra-planar entities. So it while it doesn't specifically say no monsters, there is a provision that says any pets or companion beasts are to remain in the stables outside the town for the entirety of the stay, locked up. So it doesn't specifically say no monsters, but I think that's probably because nobody thought anyone would bring a monster with them.
Legal loophole, let's go.
So, I mean, there's
Sure.
an upside.
This crazy cult-like church is totally going to be fine with loopholes. Gotcha.
Yeah, right.
I mean, so if I do have an episode, then it's not against the rules, right?
Sure. Uh-huh. We'll ignore the no assault, no murder rules that are around the first 10. Overall, there is a list of 47 different rules in this book, and a 48th one that says this, or a 48th line that basically says this list is not exhaustive and can be amended whenever it is made necessary. If you have to ask, don't.
A glance over the whole list while on our way in.
I'll just add one more rule to the pamphlet and then close it.
Okay.
Does it have anything about arson?
Yes, actually, there's 3 different rules about arson.
Damn it.
Like I said, this is an extensive list. Val, you yourself, having worked and dealt with kind of control and things like that, even you are going, wow, we wouldn't have even tried this in Omorn. This is so far beyond anything we think is OKKK.
Guys, if I ever... First off, sorry for the magic thing. I'll be more careful. Secondly, have I ever told you the tale of Kevin Bacon?
I think I heard about it. He was a forest guy, right?
He was a wild elf.
Yeah.
So, but back to Liliane, you guys continue kind of walking. You get back to town. You know you are expected to report to the head priest about what happened and your decision about whether you let them come in or not. So as you get into the village proper, you are immediately met by two new priests. They've just been given their priesthood, and they immediately kind of just without a word whisk you off to meet with the head priest.
Okay.
So as you get into his little office, he's sitting behind a very large, elaborate desk, and he sees you come in. You see him adjust a piece of paper on the desk and goes, "Well, seems you've returned unharmed. Your report?"
It was a group of travelers. They claim to be raised. What is how what is their friend?
And you see him kind of bring his hand up and rest it on his forehead and bring it back. So you told them that they should leave? You know, most people that come here looking for something are only going to find to the trouble.
No, I didn't let them in.
I trust you have a good reason for allowing them in? Well? Damn it, Liliane. Lord Noctis's tax collectors will be here in 24 hours. Tomorrow. And we have random strangers coming in looking for people? We have got so much work ahead of us getting the taxes ready, ensuring everyone is up to date. I mean, you have just created so much more work, and you don't even have a good excuse. And then you hear kind of a on the door, and the priest goes, "What?" And it very slowly opens. Sure. We've been informed one of them attempted to cast detect thoughts during the initial meeting. Just thought you might want to know, though Lillian probably told you. Thank you. Close the door on your way out. And there is a very heavy silence in the room. You can feel it on your shoulders. He's now stood up and is slowly walking around the room, not making eye contact. After what seems like I just realized I still have the Overlord or Overlands as a song. Let's go here. After what seems like an unbearable amount of the time, you finally hear him go, "Liliane?"
Yes.
When you report about a meeting with visitors to the town, what is the first thing you should tell me?
Probably that, probably that, I should have told you that about just that.
You're damn right. The first thing these people did to do meeting one of our representatives is break a rule? And you didn't think that was important? That's no, just stand there. Don't talk, don't move. I have to deal with this. And he goes to the door, opens it, slams it behind him. Anything you wanted to do while you're alone in his office?
Do I think of the being? I think about the last time I saw, my friend.
Sorry, you're going to think about the last time you saw your friends, is that right?
Yeah,
Okay.
I was just thinking
Okay.
there
Sure.
could be water.
You're there for like half an hour. Finally, you hear the door open. The priest comes back in, sits down. What are we going to do with you? I don't think you quite appreciate the teachings we have given you. I think you need to recommit yourself to the Dark Lady. And he takes a quill out and starts writing. You're going to be fasting and praying. Let's say 5 days to start off with. Sounds good. And, well, as you focus your mind, you should also focus your body. So you'll be working in the gardens 12 hours a day while you're fasting. See if you can't focus yourself, recommit yourself to our teachings. Change out of your robes, get into your work clothes. We don't want you dirtying something with value. Go.
Yeah.
And
Oh no, I am so like that. And William,
okay.
and then go saying like he told me.
Okay. As you're about to leave, he goes, send in my page. And there's a little kid. He's like 7. He was promised to the church, so he's learning. And all he literally does is sit at this really dumb-looking box, effectively, that is his desk. And he waits for the priest to call him in to run letters. Like, that's all he does. And it's the most demeaning job you could think of for a 7-year-old, especially since it's so boring and he has to sit there. His name is Frederick. And half the time you see him just like a little bit of drool going out.
Is he like that now?
Currently, he's halfway. You see him like nodding.
Oh, I know. None of my way to tell him.
And he kind of
Yeah.
he jumps and he immediately grabs the desk and sits up straight. And he notices, oh,
Yeah,
really ain't.
Father, I will see you.
Oh, thank God. Oh, I should say sorry. And he runs in. And then a couple seconds later, he runs out with a little letter in his hand. While you're doing that, Commander and et al., as you guys get closer to the town, with being a mile or so out when you guys met with them, it takes you a good like 15-ish minutes at a leisurely style pace to get there. And as you get there, you notice another person in much fancier vestments, but a similar color, runs into the guardhouse. And then you see 4 guards come out and just kind of wait for you all at the entrance to the village. As they get close, the one in the front goes, "Whoa, whoa, 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 whoa. Sorry, folks. I think you should turn around. We're not accepting visitors right now. Sorry about that."
I'm just staring in his eyes like I'll kill him. I've seen enough death.
We've got tax collectors coming soon, so it becomes really awkward if you're still here when they get here, and then they ask about your taxes, especially if you're paying taxes wherever you come from. Nah, you can go ahead and turn around. Midwell is great this time of year. You can find whatever you're looking for there. I guarantee it. You can go ahead and turn around.
The
I've
tax
already been
collectors
there.
the tax collectors will ignore us. Don't worry.
We've already been there, and what we were looking for was not there. So we're just gonna go ahead and go right on in.
And as you do, you watch as his hand kind of very casually rests on the broadsword on his waist.
I wouldn't do that if I were you. The Dark Lord will drain you dry.
Maybe you don't quite understand what we're saying here.
Maybe you don't understand.
We're the guests of the Dark Lord. Let us in.
And you see him kind of look at you weird. What? I've never heard of no guests. No, but listen, I don't want any trouble here.
To take
I'm
your hand off
telling
your
you,
sword.
You're the ones that are getting jumpy here. I'm telling you right now, you're not coming into the town.
Well, we
Now,
have no hands-on weapons. You do. Who's real jumpy here?
because you're not listening and you keep interrupting me. Listen,
Yeah, well,
there's
you just
only
got that
4 of
base.
us now, but I've got 24 more guards that'll be here in under a minute. This ain't gonna go well for you. Now, there's no bad blood here. We've been told there's an altercation. We just don't want any sort of trouble. So just turn around. Maybe
Well,
you can camp outside of the town. Maybe they'll send some new people to talk to you, and you can try and win it over with them. But as right now, you're not
now,
coming in. I'm
Bella,
sorry.
now let me
I
allow me to
actually,
explain. This was just a minor misunderstanding on my part, and if you want to punish me by not allowing me to be allowed into town, I can certainly understand that. But my friends here have traveled a long ways. I'm very tired. At least let them in for the night.
Listen, here you're not getting my meaning. This isn't a punishment or anything like that. We've been told not to let you in. This isn't.
okay.
I'd be fine negotiating. I think you're great people. I don't have any problem with you. It's just they've got an eye for trouble, and even if you're wonderful people, you know they can see things that happen before they do. So
How about
I
this? no one here, for whatever reason, said the name of the person we're looking for. How about you just go and fetch them, and we'll wait out here.
Okay. I can have one of my men, but I mean, Scormone ain't a large village, but there's still,
It would take
a
you
few
long to look.
hundred people here. What? Fine. If you don't mind, just waiting out here. If we recognize the name or we can find him real quick, I'll send one of my boys out to look. But I can't spend a ton of resources looking for your little missing person. So if it takes more than maybe a day here, I'm gonna have to tell you no. Okay?
Hey, Commander, what was the name again? Sorry, it's been a very, very long year.
The name is Lillian.
Well,
Lillian Vasara.
It's a very pretty name. Damn, if it doesn't sound familiar. That's the strangest thing. Well, yeah, I'll send one of my boys. Can I tell her who's looking for her?
Tell her the outcast.
The outcast. Interesting. Okay, I'll have one of my boys look for this. Was it? There's again Lillian Versara.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll have him look for her. There's a real nice camping spot about half a mile right down there. You see where that deer path is? It goes, kind of goes between those hills. It opens up to a real nice area. Lots of people camp there if they're planning on turning around. So you guys can go there. It's nice. It's safe. It's close enough to the town that monsters tend not to go there.
It's very kind of you. Thank you.
Not a problem. I don't want there to be animosity between us. You know, again, it's nothing to do with you. I trust the boys here. They ain't turned me wrong yet. So, all right,
Thank you very much.
no problem. And if you need it, the stable's on the way. You can pick up some feed for your horses and all that stuff there. They seem to be pretty purebred. You don't want to be feeding them just anything, and the grass out there ain't the greatest for eating. So yeah, go ahead and pick up some stuff at the stable there. All right,
Thank you.
not a problem. And he goes back into his guardhouse.
Well, I'm gonna start heading toward the spot he pointed out.
I suppose so.
And it takes you about 10 minutes to get there. It's not very far. And it is really not. It's very obvious that this place has been used by a campsite often. In a very, very large area, the ground is kind of packed down. The dirt is compacted. There is a fire ring already there. There's even some rocks and other things that obviously have been used. Some larger ones that are mostly flat on the top that have been used as tables, and some smaller ones kind of circling the fire that look like they've been used as seats and other things like that. So, as far as campsites go, this one's not bad.
Huh?
Excellent. So, there's nobody around us, correct?
No. Not only is there no one around you, you're in kind of between a couple hills. So you're effectively cut off from line of sight of the town, everything. You are alone.
Perfect. How far away is that guard tower? Or guard?
At this
Gate?
point, you're about half a mile from them.
Perfect. While they're setting up the campsite, I'm going to go ahead and cast clairvoyance.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to spend 10 minutes monitoring the guard tower. I want to listen in on any conversations that may be happening there.
Clairvoyance is different than scry, right?
Correct.
Okay.
I created an invisible sensor within range in a location familiar to you. Has to be within 1 mile. The sensor is invisible. It remains in place for the duration, and it cannot be attacked or otherwise interacted with. You can choose seeing or hearing. You can then use the chosen sense through the sensor as if you were in its place.
Okay.
As your action, you can switch between seeing and hearing.
All right. So, where specifically did you want to put your sensor? I will say, with how it's described, if you wanted to place it somewhere inside the guardhouse, you could.
I would try to put it inside the guardhouse up a little bit.
Okay. You would only be able to get in effectively like the front door to be on this as a safe side.
Yep.
But yeah, you basically, and depending on whether you're seeing or hearing at any given moment, you see the guardhouse itself. There's a stair that goes up to the second floor. You would assume that's where the bunkhouse is. There's a fireplace on one side. There's a bunch of tables. It's a nice guardhouse. It's obvious this is not just your standard kind of guardhouse at the front. Like, this is a headquarters style guardhouse. So a little bit more there. Is there anything specifically you're listening for?
I want to try to see if they talk about us
Okay.
or Lillian.
By the time you get there, you pick up tons of conversation because it is almost a tavern in just how much conversation goes on in there. And there's a few kind of offhand mentions about you, but you don't hear anyone saying anything specifically.
Like, get a load of those guys.
Yeah, by the time you've actually set up this as a sensor, close to half an hour has passed, so more likely than not, they've gotten the talk out of their system.
Got it. But they're certainly not rallying a party to come attack us.
They don't seem to be.
Okay.
Again, with your interaction with the guards, these are not like the guards you're used to dealing with. The ones in Ilmorn were almost firefighter-like in how quickly they were ready to be deployed. Like, they always had their like, they never were without their weapons. Even when they slept, they would have their armor and everything set up so that they could don it massively quick. These guys are not. Half of them don't have weapons on them. Some of them are just flat out drunk currently in the middle of the day. It is very, very casual. You would not trust these people with half the jobs you did in Ilmorn.
I'll just be like, they're so shameful. Somebody should whip them into shape.
As this is happening, back with Lillian, as you are changing into your work clothes, which basically consists of a burlap shirt and shorts tied with a rope, and that's it. It's uncomfortable. It is meant to be uncomfortable. The only time anyone is ever asked to wear this particular outfit is when they are trying to recommit themselves, which is the kind of colloquial term for punishment. As you pull the shirt on and are kind of readjusting your hair and everything to get it all tied up, you hear your door crack open very slightly, and you hear Terrace's voice. Lillian?
Yeah.
Are you, can I come in?
The, so, do I ever have my bottles on?
Yeah, you're mostly dressed. You're just fixing your hair.
Yeah, come in.
Yes, you. She kind of comes in and quickly closes the door. I'm so sorry. I didn't even think. It just kind of slipped out.
No, I don't know what I was saying. No, you were right. It was a mistake. I said it was a mistake.
Well, it's a way to make it up to you. And you see her kind of look around, and she reaches into a hidden pocket you're aware of that she's sewn into her clothing, and she pulls out a small berry. I had one of the druids make me up one of these. And she gives you a good berry. I know you're not supposed to be eating, but this will at least keep the hunger pains away, okay?
Thank you.
Liam, can I ask you a question?
Yeah. Yeah, what is it?
Why are you here? I mean, we've known each other for a while, and I just... That sword that you never use, we both know you know how to use it, and you could do a lot. But yet you let the priest just walk all over you.
You know, over time, I mean, how familiar is she with how I came into town?
Um, she'd already been with the church for a while before you got here. So, she would only be aware of what she was told. Like she was sequestered in the church itself until you actually met as acolytes. So she knows about your sword, and she knows you know how to use it. But beyond that, she was very much kind of sheltered away from anything going on in the town until she started going out on the greetings. She'd never left the church. So
Uh, I just wasn't so much she been told. Well,
I mean, if you wanted to tell her more, you could have. That is entirely up to you as far as how much you shared with her. Just let me know so I can role
yeah,
play.
I am probably gonna talk about my time a lot, if at all.
Okay. So yeah, so far she is one of your closest friends, and unlike William, she's not quite as sold on the church as William. She still believes in it, but
Yeah,
she's willing to bend rules a little more.
yeah, well, what did the elders tell you about when I came to town?
Oh, we're not supposed to ask. I know you probably don't know this, but it's very rude to ask someone who commits their life to the church what they did before. We're kind of kind of just expected that our old lives are gone and dead. You know, the Dark Lady, death is a transition from one place to another, and so your old life has died and you've transitioned to your life supporting the Dark Lady and her purpose. So they didn't tell me much at all.
Well, as you so aptly put it, I know how to use that word. I've used it many times in the past, but I guess during my time in the tower, I learned that more often than not, it always causes more pain than it solves. And I guess the tips were my way to be practice of that. You could say,
I understand, and I'm sorry I asked. I really shouldn't have. I just
no, no, it's fine. Um,
I just hate seeing him treat you like that.
so, and, um, I don't know what it was about those people today, but I get it that brought back some old memories.
Okay.
Yeah, I haven't thought about for a while. I don't know why I get that swell in my throat.
Okay. Well, I gotta go.
Yeah, yeah,
You better get out to the fields.
yeah,
The
yeah.
priest will get mad. But yeah, I'll visit you tomorrow. Give you another good berry.
I
Okay.
take you in all takes.
Yep. And she goes out the door.
And after she closes the door, I'll quit
Okay.
listening to baby that out.
Mm-hmm. And it's an interesting feeling. I don't know if you've had good berries before, but when you were training and becoming a blood hunter, you've probably lived off on them before, and they're weird because it's a small berry and you eat it and you just hunger goes away for about a day. It's really weird. Yes, this is so shifting back. How long does your spell last, Vavala?
10 minutes.
10 minutes. Okay. So the 10 minutes pass again. You don't hear a ton, but you get the idea that nothing bad is going to happen. You don't think you're going to be ambushed or anything. And time passes. It starts getting closer to evening. The sun starts getting low in the sky, despite the fact that it's completely overcast. You can see the light getting dim. Is there anything the rest of you guys want to do while you're waiting here?
How long would it take, you say, if we went on foot, would it take to get to the walls of the city again?
The city doesn't really have walls, per se. It just has kind of a main entrance,
Hmm.
and then buildings effectively. But you're like 10 minutes away, ish, from the city itself. So you know they have guard posts at various places, so that getting into the city, the village unseen, would be difficult. It would be significantly more difficult if the guards were good at their job. But it would not be impossible to get into the village without being seen, from what you can tell. Though once you're inside, you have no idea what staying hidden would be like.
Gotcha. I just kind of look at Val and I'm just like, if I was invisible, I'm pretty sure I could get in there.
I mean, I could make you invisible for an hour.
I could make all of us invisible for an hour. I guarantee it won't work. Trust me, as someone who grew up in this kind of world, paranoia is their forte. You probably walk right through and think you're unseen, and they're just looking at you like you walk through the front door naked.
I don't know. I kind of feel like I was in the cult of the Dog Lady for quite some time. Before the true nature of my patron was revealed to me. And I mean, I could, and I kind of like look around and make sure nobody's watching, and I will use Mask of Many Faces to make myself like look like one of them. Plain features, robed, blank expression on my face.
Without thinking, a glass of Kool-Aid just appears in your hand.
If that's the route one you want to take, I can at least make it so you can fly and get in quicker and out if need be.
I don't have fly.
It's only lasts for 10 minutes, so it's not like you're flying forever.
Congratulations, you have created a monster.
I mean,
Wait.
beginning of the campaign, I did this, and she literally burned down a camp.
Valid point.
I can make
This is
3
why I need
people
a flying
flying, or
broom.
I can make 3 of you flying, or 4 of you invisible.
Third level. I can make 2 of us invisible.
I'm not going in.
If you're all with
Make us fly.
whoever's within 30 feet of me, I can make you stealthier.
Oh, yeah, I probably shouldn't be going, considering, stealth is not my weapons forte.
So the 2 of us can go. So me and Argenta can go invisible. We can fly into the city. Do what we need to do. And then jump back out.
That's what you want.
I'm fine with it.
How could this possibly go wrong? This sounds like such an amazing idea.
Oh, so get ready to...
This was not my idea. Just pointing that out.
Since I won't be able to see you afterwards, make sure you cast invisibility on the both of you after I cast flying, like immediately, and then you guys go, or else you're just going to be walking. So let me know when you're good.
Okay, I'll place my hand on Vala's shoulder so I know where she is real fast.
And because I can cast it on 3 people, I'll cast it on myself as well, just so I know for sure when it's going to wear out.
Okay.
Okay.
I'll cast Pass Without Trace.
Okay.
And I will cast invisibility.
All right.
At 3rd level.
So you guys, the first thing you feel is you feel yourselves, you kind of feel this little bit of adrenaline as you become lighter than air and you can propel yourself in any direction. And as you're kind of getting used to this feeling of floating and flight, your physical form just starts to disappear as well. And Vala, as you're kind of concentrating on it, you feel the sound around you deaden to silence as the Pass Without a Trace covers you. You feel very sneaky.
That was so cool.
All right, let's go.
All right.
So,
So I
as you
think me and
guys
Argenta are just like holding on to each other as we fly off.
Okay. As you guys fly up, you see the village itself. In the front of the town, which is in the north of the town, where the road comes in, you can see the guardhouse and the gate that you were expected to go through. You can see the town itself is probably a little bit more than like 2 miles ish in diameter. But it does have a very clear kind of barrier almost, where the backs of buildings build this pretty clear rectangular town. Where do you guys want to go specifically? You can see in the center of town there's a very, very large church. Easily, the center's just a steeple of it, easily, or temple, I guess, is easily 60 or 70 feet high. Like, it's the biggest building in the town, and it is absolutely the dead center.
I'll turn and look where I think Argenta is. Be like, we really should have discussed this beforehand.
That's true. We don't even know where the land is.
What kind of a prison would she be in? Maybe we should go to the church to see if there's a prison or something.
It is the center of the cult. Maybe they have people in the basement.
We fly over to the church.
Okay. As you get to the flying over the guardhouse and everything, you suddenly feel very heavy, and you see yourself, and all the sound turns on, and you drop.
Shit.
Damn it, they don't play by the rules.
I rolled really poorly, so you take a grand total of 5 falling damage.
Misty Step only is one person, correct?
Yes, you cannot misty step with another.
I will just be like, I'm sorry, Argenta, and I will Misty Step.
And as you speak the command word, nothing happens as you plummet.
I do not like these people. I say as I'm falling.
As you both hit the ground hard, right in front of the guardhouse, your guard friend comes out. I think we're gonna have a problem here. You see the cornerstone of the guardhouse glowing with an anti-magic rune.
It's not like we're not in the city. We're out of your jurisdiction. I just start walking away.
Oh man, I must have been sleep casting again. It's such a horrible condition.
Listen,
So I'll just follow Argenta.
I really don't want us to be enemies, but this is a bad kind of relationship building moment, okay? Do you understand why this would look bad to a lot of people?
I do, and I feel really bad. We're just concerned about our friend.
I sent one of my boys off. They're looking. You know,
Alright.
I'm starting to take this personally.
No, don't do that.
All right, I'm going to make you a deal. Because you all, other than being a little bit crafty, which I'm not a fan of, you seem to be nice folks. They're just trying to find their friend. I'm not going to let anyone know this happened. All right? Just me and my boys know. They ain't going to say nothing. Church isn't going to find out neither. All right?
I truly appreciate that.
If this happens again, or you try to get in this town without my express permission, Oh, bad things are gonna happen. All right?
I
Do we have
I
an
understand.
understanding?
We have an understanding.
All right.
Um, thank you.
Go get some rest. All right.
Yes.
Oh, and maybe I'll watch out. That fall's pretty rough.
Yeah, yeah. How much damage did I take there again?
5.
5.
5.
I rolled a 1, a 3, and a 1 for dropping 30 feet.
We hit a wet patch of dirt. It's fine.
I read those rolls when Henri was like 100 feet in the air.
Sorry,
Uh,
I rolled
I-
off my little table for one of them, and so I had
At
to re-roll it.
least,
I got ones twice.
at least, whenever Henri cats fly, it's still on brand with people falling out of the air.
Yeah. Henri, you would have noticed within about 3 minutes, you could no longer. Your spell had ended on 2 of the targets.
Yep, tried to tell him.
I look at Lillian and I'm just like, okay, tell me, how buddy are you with the tax collectors?
Lillian's not here, so
Oh, not Lillian, Avala.
I
Never
don't
gonna say
know
what?
why you
Wait
would
a minute.
assume. I don't know why you would assume that I would be buddy with tax collectors. I mean,
You
I
had
feel
like 15 official badges. Don't lie to me.
I will say
look.
it is entirely up to you as far as your relationship, because you have had to deal with tax collectors a few times. They, even in your circle of bad people, they were still scum. So nobody likes them.
I mean, I assume I probably had to hand people over to them at certain points.
No, tax collectors.
Oh.
Even if there is blood tax to be collected, like someone has to pay back taxes effectively, they do not send the tax collectors for that. There is a specific group of people called the Blood Pack, and they come and they collect back blood taxes. That is all they did to do. You personally have never dealt with them.
Got it. Okay.
Despite the fact that there have been people that have had to pay back taxes and blood tax, they simply aren't there one day. And you'll get a little note from Lord Noctis saying, this is who we took, this is how much they owed, the debt is now paid.
Okay. Yeah, then I'm assuming I probably don't have much of a relationship with them, if any.
Okay. Again, that is entirely up to you.
Yeah.
They're also different. There are different tax people for every village, for the most part. So, and multiple ones that would visit. So, anyway, sorry to interrupt. Proceed.
Thank you. So yeah, I'll just turn to Argenta and go, "What? I don't know what you're insinuating, but I don't know that I like it."
Meanwhile,
Now,
I'll
if you-
say, oh, go ahead.
Excuse me, I think I may have injured something on my back.
I'll say to Commander while we're waiting for them to do the walk of shame back. I just don't understand why this group isn't patient. I feel like patience will do wonders. I feel like they would have walked out with Lillian at this point.
Yeah, well, I don't know.
Took invisibility seriously.
I never took Vala for being the patient type with, her favorite thing being fire and all.
As you guys are saying that, you hear kind of some grunts and moans as Vala and Argenta kind of wander back into Cap, rubbing various parts covered in dirt, a little bit of mud.
almost like I spent most of my life dealing with these people, these kind of people, and just knew.
I will say, um, this Church of the Dark Lady is very different from the one you are familiar with, Henri.
Yeah, I'm mainly
But
just playing on the paranoia aspect.
but no, that's kind of a typical thing.
And so as we get back, I'll just be like, well, so that was a bust.
Let me guess,
Um,
you didn't even get inside the gate, huh?
Not exactly. How are we supposed to know they had an anti-magic warding
It's a
runes?
it's a church-driven city.
I can guarantee there's only 2 places in this entire god awful place that do that. And, well, one you're probably familiar with, and two, probably this one.
Well, I'm open to suggestions. We can just sit here and wait.
As she says that, I will cast suggestion and be like, I suggest you wait.
Go ahead and make your roll.
I mean, technically, I did say I was open to suggestion.
Yeah. You can choose to fail.
I'm just gonna choose to fail.
Okay. You feel that waiting is a fantastic idea, and you literally sit down right where you are, very contently waiting. How long suggestion last?
It says 8 hours or until they can. It's essentially like if I tell her to go get some berries and she goes and gets the berries, then suggestion wears off, kind of thing. So I
Yeah,
assume
since
once
this is
she,
an open-ended thing, Vala will be waiting for 8 hours, unless
It is-
you end the spell.
yeah,
Yeah, Vala's just gonna sit down and pull out her flute, her flame flute.
No,
Just-
see, that would be playing. You are
Oh
waiting.
no, I'm
You
literally
literally
playing
just
the
sit
waiting
there.
game.
Yeah, you are literally just sitting there, staring at nothing, waiting.
Would that interfere with like a long rest?
Long rest, yes. Short rest, no. However, I believe suggestions kick a concentration, right?
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
So as soon as he would go unconscious, the spell would end.
As soon as he goes unconscious, he's gonna go unconscious.
Yeah, so you guys are able to get some rest. As it gets closer, like another couple hours pass, and it gets closer, you hear footsteps coming up towards the path, and you see your old friend.
I will end it once I hear them approaching, so she's
Okay.
not defenseless.
You see your old friend coming forward, and no one is with him.
Did we get a short rest?
Yes, that would have counted as a short rest if you'd like to take it.
Yep, that means I get those spells immediately back.
Except
Yeah, but-
Vala, who is very focused on waiting.
Well, because you're not doing anything, that would count as a short rest. I would say
Okay,
you
then.
wouldn't be able to heal any hit points, because that would require you actually... but anything else you get back on a short rest, you would get.
Cool.
So
I
you
can
just
use those
can't spend
spells.
hit dice.
Excellent. Thank you.
Yippers. You see your friend come in. Sure. We need to have a conversation.
Of course, please. I will gesture to a log. Have a seat.
And as he goes out, he takes a pack off his back, opens it up, and he brings out some bread and some raw meat. Mind if I use your fire? This is the kind of thing that deserves a meal.
Please.
Wonderful. And you see him pull out the equipment for roasting. And the chunk of meat that he has is like a pretty decent sized roast. And so he skewers it and he puts it over your fire and he starts turning it. probably got an hour before this is done. It might be long enough for me to learn what in the hell you're doing here. 'Cause, well, you just caused me loads of trouble.
Really?
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
sorry for that.
See, one of my boys went into town and he went looking for this Liliana girl. And officially, he didn't find her.
Hmm.
There's never been officially a girl named Liliana that's ever existed. Ever. She has
So then-
never, ever existed. So much so that even asking if she exists causes problems. If you
I
get my
see.
meaning.
I do.
At this point, I'm slowly and stealthily, or trying to be stealthily. I'm pulling my gun to the ready position
Mhm.
and having it like cocked and ready to go.
Go ahead and make me, I'll let you to choose stealth or sleight of hand.
Which one's higher? Stealth, sleight of hand. They are the exact same. So it doesn't matter. 19.
Okay, you think you've taken Fury out without anyone noticing. And you've you still have it sequestered somewhat in your duster,
Mhm.
but your hands on the trigger, your fingers on your thumbs on, or your fingers on the trigger, thumbs on the hammer. You could pull it out very, very quickly with very little effort.
That's what okay.
He continues. Yeah. See, when my boy came back, he came back with some new friends,
Hmm.
and they asked me a lot of questions. Where they heard that name, who was asking. Well, see, I've had this problem for years. My memory just ain't what it used to be. I couldn't exactly remember who it was that asked, or even where I heard the name. So strange. They got
So
mighty
unfortunate.
upset. But it's pretty easy to guess where a name that I couldn't remember hearing would have come from. So they went back to the church. My boy doesn't remember the name, because it's for a lady that doesn't exist, as I told you.
Of course.
He doesn't remember going out and asking about it.
Hmm.
He doesn't remember much of anything. Except that
Anything
he
as in
went
the last day, or
Well, he remembers going into town. He felt the overwhelming need to talk to a priest. Felt that his time was coming, so he needed to deal with the weight of what he'd done. He felt a lot better after talking to priests. Priests here mighty nice. They help you get through a lot of things. So, yeah, and then he came back with his two friends. See, the weird thing about this is, I've been here for a long time. I ain't never had someone ask about a name and then have a visit from the priests. This just doesn't really happen. If they visit me, generally tends to be about something else. Y'all seem to say something that seemed very, very weird when I met you before. Something about the Dark Lord's guests. Now, I ain't never heard of a Dark Lord ever having guests. But now, the lady you're asking about doesn't exist, has never existed, will never exist. I got to thinking. Someone who is acquainted with the Dark Lord, maybe not on the friendliest of terms, well, they might be doing things that might make people a bit ornery. Maybe make them overreact a bit. So maybe y'all better explain exactly what you're doing here to me.
Well, I apologize for any trouble we may have caused you or your friend. Obviously, that was never our intent.
Whatever your intention was, you've set off quite a bit.
To be fair, that is our modus operandi. My friends and I have had dealings with the Dark Lord before. And he brought us here as punishment.
Lovely.
We're just trying to get reunited.
I'm going to go out on a limb here and say he doesn't want you getting reignited, does he?
He hasn't seemed to have stopped us.
Well, I'm going to let you know right now, he's stopping you now. At least attempting to.
So the priests are working for the Dark Lord. And you think they're trying to hide... Well, they don't like people asking questions.
See, there's some a lot of people don't know about the church. You've come from other places. You know where I'm from?
No, where?
I was born in Rathfont.
Right
at the base of Castle Tormenrift.
Really?
We're closer to the Dark Lord than anyone else in the entire land. You know what was really weird there? There weren't any temples there. Yeah, people really were not a big fan of religion in general. Like, there was altars every so often to, quite a few of the gods, but, you didn't visit them in daylight hours. They were always in strange places where you could go to them and no one would see you. The Dark Lord doesn't really appreciate worshiping gods, especially since they've seemed to have forsaken this place. But in Scornmote, you got a church to the Dark Lady. Now, death tends to be something that Lord Noctis takes a bit of ownership over. You know what I mean? So it's kind of strange not only that this church exists, but has been allowed to thrive as much as it has, with it kind of conflicting with the Dark Lord and everything. I've never had any problems with them, so I've never dug too deep, but back in my mind, I've always thought, something ain't right here. I had a sister once in Rathfont, too. She was real nice. She was a duelist. That's what she liked to do. She had a little rapier, and she'd go around. She'd fight with people for money. She was amazing. She'd only fight to first blood. I don't think I ever saw her lose. She was that good. And boy, could she make it entertaining. Most of the time, the money she made from the duel, the person she was dueling, was nothing compared to the crowd. Wow, she was amazing.
Sounds
Jody.
like a girl
Mhm.
after my own heart.
When he's talking, I'm going to be keeping an eye out to make sure we're not about to get jumped.
Sure. Go ahead and make me a perception check then.
18.
Yeah, looking around, unless someone comes over the hills, which you'll be able to see them probably a good 5 minutes before they get close enough to do anything. There are only two ways in and out of this area. There's the path you came in, and then there's a path that leads out on the opposite side of the camp. And you don't see anyone either place currently.
Okay.
So, she was a good kid too, because she paid her taxes, everything she made on the duels. But with all the tips and everything like that, well, sometimes she'd forget to factor that into her taxes. One day, tax collector came by, took a fancy to her. He wasn't particularly pleased with him. Found out that she hadn't paid quite enough taxes. Decided the best way to pay it was with a blood tax. I didn't think they'd actually do it. She'd always been a good girl, and she couldn't have had that much back tax to pay. In the middle of the night, I woke up. There's 5 people in my house I'd never seen before. Well, it's hard to call them people, those things. Fur everywhere. Gnashing teeth. Standing up like a human, but anything but. She wasn't there next morning, just a note. Said the debt was paid. Couldn't stay there. So I came to Scornmote. Worked with the guards. Tried to make something decent. Tried to work with people. Started working with the church because they kept people from disappearing and they kept the town safe. But you never quite get over not doing anything, not saving her. And I just get this feeling that it's about to happen again. So, y'all don't have much of a choice here. You set something in motion, and it's going to continue. I need to know what you plan to do about it.
We are open to suggestions. And I'll look at Henri and be like, nope, not you.
Here's the thing, I don't have any suggestions. I can tell you what's going to happen. Whether you try to stop it or not, I know it's going to happen. Maybe with a little foresight you can come up with a plan. I ain't going to just sit by and let it happen again. Does that make sense to you?
I think so.
And you're not sure where it came from because you haven't seen him reach for a weapon. But he has a dagger in his hand at this point, and he cuts a little piece off of the roast. I think it's dinner time. You mind helping me with this?
I'm not hungry. I ate last week.
You're a strange one. And he turns to Commander. It's hot, so it might take two of us to take it off. He just sits there waiting. He's got a towel in one hand that he's getting ready to toss to you.
Kind of just ignore him. And
Out of curiosity, you wouldn't happen to be the lord of this town, would you?
No! I'm just simple guard.
I will get up and help him.
So he tosses you that. You guys pick the rubber roast off, and he takes it off, and it looks very well cooked. He takes some bags out and sprinkles some spices and herbs that he had on it. It smells really good. Y'all can dig in however you want. I ain't much for manners or anything like that. Just pick and tear. And he starts cutting pieces off for himself, breaks off a hunk of bread, sits down, kind of places the meat he cut off on the bread as a little plate, and just goes to eating.
I'll get a helping. What was your sister's name?
And you see him, like, stop for a second, and he blinks. We can talk about that another time. He goes back to eating.
Was his pause, did it seem like difficult to bring up, or
Make an insight check.
he made the whole thing up?
The DM made the whole thing up, I'll tell you that.
Well, yeah. 5.
You know, he's hard to read.
Yeah.
His expression did not change much. And he always has this kind of little, like, smirk. So getting any kind of read on him is pretty difficult.
You know, I'm just so rusty. I'm just not used to reading people outside of an interrogation room.
Yeah,
so...
you know. It's a whole different experience when they're not screaming in pain.
Okay, yeah, so I'll just start eating, I guess. Do I make the Constitution saving throw now or later?
No save, you just die.
Okay.
No,
Damn it, I should eat.
it's good. As you kind of chew it, it's a bit gamey. You're thinking this is probably not having had it often. You're not 100% certain, but it tastes a bit like bear. Very hearty, a bit chewy, but not horrible.
As she's eating, I'm not joining in, but I'm just looking at him and I say, what do you think's going to happen then? Because you skirted around that.
Well, tax collector's here tomorrow. I'm going to guess someone's going to have to pay some back taxes.
What if
Maybe
tax?
this girl, maybe someone else, but
What if the tax collector never reports?
oh, they'll send another one. Probably punish the town for not paying their taxes. Tax collectors are like cockroaches. You kill one, 7 more come out.
Yeah.
And the tax collector's not the problem, but what if this punishment squad is, and they disappear, and I just kind of look at the group.
Oh, no, they will send somebody else. They will assume the worst. And somebody will have to pay.
If you want this friend of yours, or whomever is going to pay for this, to stay in the land of the living, I recommend you find them and you find them quick.
I tried that. Stopped twice.
I will turn to the others and be like, maybe it's time I found religion.
What do you mean, Vala? Magic doesn't work.
No, I have other ways. I could offer myself, be a troubled soul looking for help, and have a talk with one of these priests.
They know your face, though.
Do they?
The only people that know your face are me and those three that met you out front.
Let me ask you this. I mean, we never got your name, so plausible deniability, but where do they usually keep people like that?
Oh, no one keeps a person that doesn't exist. There'd be no reason to. But no one goes inside the central areas of the church that's not a member of the church. The public itself is only allowed in the cathedral. The rest of the church is off limits, including the basement.
Town have an inquisitor.
Can't say we do. Never really needed one.
I mean, this place seems to not want me to die. I could cause a massive distraction for everyone. What's gonna happen? I'll die? Oh no.
We don't need a massive distraction. That will only lead to more innocent lives lost. We need to do this discreetly.
Sooner we get out of this place, sooner I kill that, and I'll refrain from mentioning any names, the better.
How long have you been here?
I don't know.
No, I'm sorry. I'm talking to the guard.
Oh, about 20 years now.
See,
How long has this place existed?
I don't think it's been that long. Or if it has, and with planar travel being what it was.
Y'all are starting to talk some real funny stuff.
Okay, I'm gonna try something. Does the name Valakovia ring a bell?
Can't say it does.
Fenrish.
No,
Sanguinius.
not really. Those other towns?
See that?
What about Triregnum?
You got me.
It's a continent.
No one's really left Crusitalia, as far as I know, ever. We've got everything we need here. The mists, well, you just don't go into the mists.
We come from beyond the mists.
Fair enough. Certainly
I
must be something out there.
have a weird idea. Vala,
Yes?
are you able to, do you have the means of counterspelling, just in case?
I do.
All right, with her saying that, I'm gonna cast a spell magic on the gentleman.
But wait, that's not how Counterspell works.
It's more of more precaution in case he counterspells.
He kind of looks down. It's kind of rude.
Well, your town's paranoid. I grew up in paranoia.
What did you think was going to happen?
Either remove whatever magic's affecting him, because guarantee this place hasn't been around for 20 years.
You don't know that.
Son,
The way people act,
I've got memories of 20 years. My great-grandfather lived in Rathfog. I don't know what your thought process this is, but Crucitalia itself has been around for hundreds of years at least. Castle Tormenrift was built 300 years ago.
hey Jody,
Mm-hmm.
do any of these names ring a bell from when I was reading the Dark Lord's journal back in the lair, like way back when?
None of them.
Okay.
So the Dark Lord was just working on this place in secret for a long time. Or time flows weirdly here.
Now, you
I
remember?
mean, all of us have come here at different times. Who's to say, Henri, that you came here, when you came here first, you came here right away?
Probably.
Could have been lost for much longer.
But you remember the rituals we were finding and stopping?
Yes.
You remember all the, well, for lack of a better term, power sources we found in his lair? I think that might have been the catalyst of this blood magic, and that this is a creation of that. Like how a wizard would have a pocket dimension all to themselves.
At this point, I would speak in Elven, since I know most people know that in this group. And I would say, do you not think it wise that we should not talk strategy in front of somebody that's trying to keep us out of the city?
I don't know that he's... I'll respond in Elvish. I don't know that he's trying to keep us out.
And he responds in Elvis, never said I was going to anymore.
Plus,
Be kind of counterproductive if I came out here and told you all this and then tried to keep you out of the city.
I'm pretty sure Dark Lord knows where we're at all times anyway, so I don't think it matters.
And it's pretty obvious. Like, it makes sense to me that if the church is trying to keep Lillian's location and on the down low, the church is involved.
Well, now wait a minute. Each one of us, in our own way, was brought here to be punished.
Yes.
What is Lillian's punishment? I've assumed that she's locked up somewhere.
I don't think
I'd assumed it'd be something that would keep her from lopping things' heads off. She really enjoyed that.
See, I think it's the opposite. I don't think it's a punishment. I think the Dark Lord fears Lilia because of her connection, her abilities. I think she's partly the key at stopping this. And I think he fears that. For my time with him, I didn't get much, but I know he's a secretive prick who has a way of charming people. But knowing her specialties, I think he's afraid of her.
Henri, where did you grow up?
Same place as me.
Assume on the material plane.
I was born in Sanguinius,
Okay.
but I
just
wasn't
didn't know
there
if he
long.
recruited you from here.
No, that was a whole ordeal. That's probably the only thing in my life that's worse than what I'm going through right now.
No. All I know is, for as long as I've been here almost, I've been trying to send messages to those that I knew on the outside, and I've, up until now, never been able to send one successfully to anyone outside of here.
I think we
I
might
don't
be
know if
the only
we
ones
speak.
from the outside.
Well, that could be, but I've been assuming that somehow it's being blocked. What if it's not? What if everyone's gone?
From
Meaning, it's been
from
300 years on the outside world.
from what I know, but I sensed Vala, we're kind of we're not on the material plane anymore. We're kind of in a place that's swimming around the planes. I've avoided using my portal sense because it threatens to make me lose my sense of self, getting lost in it.
I mean, the fact I still have my abilities means that at least some of it's okay.
Well, yes, but we don't.
The fact that you still have your abilities. I mean, she's on that plane.
I think Celeste is also immortal.
Well, we watched Dark Lord brutally murder what 11 higher ups that are extremely powerful.
The Blood Council, yes. Essentially, we don't know if they're murdered, but yes, they were gone.
I hope they're gone. Fuck them.
Yeah, I know
You're
what you
not
mean.
wrong. Regardless, I think we can set that aside for the moment. The important question is, how do we find Lillian? And how do we get her out of here?
I mean, this is the one time I'll say I'm not one to turn down the brute force approach, but that's a plan Z, we'll call it.
Especially with tax coming in.
I
That's
prefer to avoid the brute force approach if possible,
Me too. I've killed too many.
especially since you may have a way to get past a lot of things.
I hate to get you involved any more than you already have
I'm
been.
not talking
but
about being involved at all. My boys, they're hard workers.
They
But
are.
they sometimes have those memory problems, and I've got. Sometimes they'll forget to show up to shifts, or sometimes I'll just send them to the wrong place because I forget where I've sent people. It's a bad thing.
Oh.
I should probably see a cleric, see if maybe there's something wrong up there.
See, I think that's the issue. I think the cleric is what's doing this to you. See,
I-
there's plenty of magic that alter memories,
I'll just be
implant
like,
them.
Henri, just stop. It's fine. Well,
I would.
the question is, does one of us want to go in the front door while the others take a more surreptitious route?
Question is why are you so willing to jump in and help people sneak into the city that you just try to sneak past your entire post?
Because this feels very familiar. Eerily so. You're looking for a young girl, wicked powerful with a sword. Never done anything wrong, but is about to get blamed for something she didn't do. just seems familiar is all.
Well, you're going to be helping us. What's your name?
No names.
Yeah, just no names.
People know my name all throughout the town. My name is Ezekiel.
Can I? Well, I know the outcome, but I want to insight check to see if that is actually the name.
Sure. Go for it.
No, that's an 11.
Again, he is remarkably hard to read. This is not a guy you would want to play 3 Dragon Ante against. You don't think it would end well. For you, at least. He'd probably be very happy to play against you.
Hmm.
Well, I best be getting back. But you know what? Let me make sure I've got everything here. I got my dagger. And as he puts it in, he cuts a pouch off of his belt. And then puts it into a scabbard. And the pouch drops, and there's obviously something with a little bit of weight to it. And he goes, you all have a good night. And, if you have any other questions, just... And he kind of looks down at the pouch. Let me know. And he wanders off.
Thanks for the roast.
I mean, I doubt any of us recognize the name he gave.
You've never heard of anyone named Ezekiel before. It is not a common name around you, but nothing about it seemed odd.
I will pick up the pouch.
In it is a single round stone with a rune written on it. Very obvious to you this is a sending stone.
What's a sending stone? Is that some messaging?
But walkie-talkies, effectively.
Got it.
Bella,
Yes.
do you still have the acorn?
I do not. I may have given that away before we left.
Felt like they would have loved this place,
Possibly.
wherever we are.
I introduced them to my old boss. I'm sure they're having a great time.
We just kill this guy already and get out of here. That's
Kill
even how we
who?
get out. What do you think?
Ezekiel?
No.
Well,
He
The
means
priest?
I'm all
no.
I'm all
he
for
means
killing
head honcho.
Noctic, but I think we need to be at full strength to do this.
Just getting impatient.
Just calm down. We don't want you to go into a big, angry rage thing again.
Yeah, let's joke about that. How many innocents have you murdered since you've been here? I guarantee mine's higher.
It's not a competition.
Vala
Come
pulls
on.
out her book and starts counting. Oh, right, sorry. You mindlessly killed people.
Yeah, here and there.
I
This
had
is
to
the
make a
first time
choice.
something like this has happened. This time I have a new appearance. You see,
I had-
that village I'm from doesn't exist anymore because of me.
That's
I
what the
am
Dark Lord told you.
It's kind of hard to forget killing lots of innocent people. I'm sick of this. When this is all done, as soon as he's gone, I'm finding a way to atone for my sins. I can't
Oh,
take it anymore. I can't.
I would think killing him will be a perfect place to start.
Yeah.
I'll like put my hand on Henri's shoulder. Let's just focus on the problem at hand.
I guarantee if I go in that town, it's gonna happen again. Because I seem to black out when I'm near, well, lots of people. Because we spent how long out in the wilderness? Didn't turn once, to my knowledge.
You didn't know?
So I'm afraid if I go in that town, that it's going to be a repeat.
So we keep you outside the town for now.
You could be a plan B if things go awry, I guess. A way of distracting the entire guard force while we try and sneak out.
I would say it's a distraction, all right. Look, when you guys go in there, I'll wait out here. I'm not gonna, because if these people are real, fake, doesn't matter. I don't want to do that again. I'm done killing.
Just one more, right?
Hopefully.
Yeah. I'll, with my thumb on the hammer, I'll squeeze the trigger and let it just cock itself.
Mhm.
And
Thought you were shooting. I'm like, wow, that's a
no, I was releasing the
Figured
tension.
we'd kill you now. You'd wake up tomorrow. We don't have to worry about watching you tonight.
And I'll get up and not go far, maybe like 10 or 15 feet from the fire pit, find a tree to sit up against. And just take a moment and breathe. And in Celestial, with the gun in my hands, I will, I guess, pray. I don't even, I've never prayed, but just for some kind of clarity or guidance or something, because everything just feels lost right now.
Okay. Deal with that in just a second.
Okay.
Anything else? It has gotten very, very little late at this point. Again, according to Ezekiel, monsters don't come this close to town. So if you guys didn't want to set up a watch, you could do that. You have found no evidence of any creatures coming anywhere near that you would need to watch for.
But I'm right here.
Yeah, I'm right here. You're not
Yes,
locked
yes.
in. I'm not locked in there with you. You're locked in here with me.
Bill was here the whole time.
So, is there anything you guys want to do before you go to sleep? And do you want to set up a watch or no? I will say, Commander, you cannot be on watch tonight.
Okay.
Henri's not going to sleep. He's just going to stay up.
Okay.
I mean, I feel like we need to have a watch.
Okay. No, Henri can take at least one shift. Remind me, do you still have the dark gift where you don't need sleep, or are you going to take a level of exhaustion?
I'm going to take exhaustion because that's packed to the tome.
Okay. Then, yeah, theoretically, if Henri wanted to, because he is not taking a long rest, he theoretically could watch all night.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
I'm
would-
still gonna stay up for one watch
Okay.
at least.
Sure. Argenta, Liliane, either of you two want a watch, or are you going to go to sleep?
Lillian's working. She's not with us.
Oh yeah, forgot.
Problem
Wow,
solved. Let's go.
Lillian's here. Guys, we can go.
Well, guys, she's literally like she's right next to my picture on the screen. So
Lillian, where did you come from?
Goodbye.
Hey.
happy birthday.
I'll take a watch, but yeah, but
Okay.
Yeah.
So everyone heads off to sleep. Henri takes first will watch. Did you have something?
Before I go to bed, I will attempt sending on Lillian once more.
Okay. Make a concentration check. Lillian, I need you to make a concentration check as well.
8.
Okay.
Was it the card?
Yeah, it's just a straight up con roll.
Was it oh. Well,
What was it?
that 2024.
Cool. All right. So, as you start casting the sending spell, you get that kind of familiar pain above your left eye, and you're having a really, really hard time focusing. And you kind of concentrate harder. You start to feel like the migraine slowly starting to come. And as you're just about to give up, you suddenly lose the effort required to concentrate. It just kind of happens. And you don't feel like you're sustaining the spell at all. But the spell has been cast, and it is currently active. What do you want to say?
Lillian, I don't know if you can hear me or not, but I want you to know we're gonna find you, and we're gonna get you back. Your friends haven't abandoned you.
You stopped it back.
Are you pooping?
Lillian, you are incredibly sore. Every muscle in your body hurts from labor. The good berry has been nice. You don't have any hunger pains or anything like that. But this has not been a fun day. And as you're lying in bed, waiting to just kind of pass out from the pain and exhaustion, you hear this message in your head as clear as if there was someone in the room with you. It is obviously Vala's voice. And you get the feeling that you can respond.
Um, oh, I said it up what you had. You said it. How many words do I have?
I think sending is... I
25.
think it... is it 25?
Yeah.
Okay.
Alright.
Is it message where it's just more words? Like it's just it's a few sentences? One of the spells, you're not quite as limited.
Yeah, message has short range, but it's like, what, 6 seconds of conversation or whatever?
Yeah, sending is 25 words or less to a creature with which you are familiar. The creature hears the message in its mind, recognizes you as the sender if it knows you, and can answer in a like manner immediately.
Okay, so you got to the 25 words.
Yeah, message has a range.
You got 22 because you said, I'm kidding.
Right.
Now, I will say, because this is happening suddenly, I'm not going to give you a ton of time to plan out your statement. So
I mean, I heard I shouldn't have let you in.
yeah.
Shouldn't have said that.
should not have said that.
It was a big thing. And that what I was saying.
Okay.
My eyes will open and I will just wake everybody up. Because I'm pretty sure, like, when Lillian says I shouldn't have let you in, I go back thinking and, like, wait a minute. Who is the name of the person that let us in? I think that might have been Lillian.
We never
Like,
got we never got the name.
I just be like, didn't they look familiar? They sound from.
They were rude. We gave them our name. They never gave us their names.
How did we miss that?
I gave up a long time ago.
She. Oh, are the others up?
Everyone except Commander. He kind of leaned up against a tree and kind of tilted his hat down. When you go over to wake him up, he's sleeping, like he's breathing and everything, but you can't wake him. No matter what you do, he will not wake up.
Oops. Nope, I don't want to do invisibility.
Well, hold that for the thought, because
Okay.
Commander.
Si, senor.
As you sit down and start praying, you're not really sure when it happens, but you eventually realize you're not sitting against the tree anymore. You're standing. And you're armed. But it's not fury in your hand. It's not even a firearm. In your right hand, you have a sword. And it's light as a feather, but you can tell there's weight to it. And it's made entirely out of this kind of glowing orange light almost. Like whatever material it is, it seems to be glowing in your hand. And as you look around and your eyes start to focus, you see creatures coming towards you with dark black weapons. They're humanoid in shape, but you can't really see any features. But you know beyond a shadow of a doubt, they're coming for you, and they're going to try and kill you. What would you like to do?
And it's just the one sword? Or is it like a rapier, or is it...
That's the other thing, you can't quite tell. Every time you look at it, you're not quite sure. It seems like you just know it's a sword.
Okay. And these things coming for me, are they in any kind of formation, or is it just scattered like all around me, or?
You're not quite sure. You're having a hard time really noticing anything except what's in front of you. But they're coming towards you as kind of like a horde. Not really in lines or formations or anything. They're just kind of rushing at you.
I don't see, there's no structures or anything around me, no buildings.
There's nothing around you. You don't even see the ground right now. Or if you do, you can't really focus on it. You know you're standing on something, but you're not quite sure what. And at this point, for some odd reason, it doesn't really seem important what you're standing on. You
Okay.
see no objects, no trees, no anything, just this kind of vast expanse of darkness with these creatures coming towards you.
Then I would prepare myself. I would get into a defensive stance.
Okay. The first three start coming towards you. First one has this wicked looking claw, goes and he swings at you. Whiff. Misses. How do you want to react to that?
I would
Basically, with how fast this is going, you can choose to kind of counterattack or focus on. There's two others that are within attack range right now. So,
would there be any way I could attack it, and in a way where I would also wind up ending the attack in a defensive position?
With how close they are, if you attack them, you're going to have to give up a little bit of your defense, no matter what you do. Any attack against this particular creature will leave an opening for another one. They're that close to you right now.
Then I would the one that whiffed, I would go leave it alone and go for one of the ones behind it.
Okay, go ahead and make me an attack roll.
Natural 20. It's for I don't know what I'm adding.
No, just flat rolls for the.
Okay, gotcha.
So it comes in, it gives that big whiff. You kind of duck under it. You bring the sword up, and it gets stuck on the stomach area of this creature. And you see this kind of pulse of light go through the creature in front of you, and you feel the blade stuck, and you just pull it, and you watch as the creature just kind of disintegrates as you pull the sword back out. The other creature there comes with a hammer-shaped object, brings it straight down on where you are, and you just kind of kick your head back at the last second, and you watch as the hammer just barely misses your nose. You actually have to blink a little bit as the wind rushes into your eyes, slams on the ground in front of you.
I would go for the hammer one next.
Okay, make me another attack roll.
5.
Okay, as you bring the sword, excuse me. As you bring the sword up, you try to swing at it. The sword gets heavier, and the swing goes wide, and the sword carries you further down to the ground. And you find it very odd that the sword has gotten so heavy. You try to pick it up again, and you can still hold it, but it's got a lot more weight to it now. Two more creatures show up, taking swings at you. The first one comes, this one with an axe, and it comes and it just barely misses you. Before you can react, a second one comes with a dagger, and you feel it plunge into your side. Pain erupts from the wound. You can feel it pulse through your entire body. Your lips suddenly start to tingle and feel numb. It becomes harder to breathe. As the creature pulls the knife out, you see you're not bleeding. There's no blood coming out. There's just this dark black ichor. And you feel your side moisten as this thick, sticky substance oozes out of you. You now have 4 creatures near you. What would you like to do?
Creatures. Is there any chance can I go from left to right and try to just do like an arcing hit through as many as I can?
Sure. Go ahead and make me a d20 roll with disadvantage because you're doing something a little bit harder than the normal.
Yeah. Disadvantage 14.
14. As you sit there and you bring the sword around, you're able to effectively decapitate 2 of the creatures. The other 2, thank you.
Oh, I got a ruby.
Yeah, you found this as a secret chest. The other 2 kind of dodge out of the way. 3 more come from the horde and start coming towards you. You suddenly notice light coming from your right side, or from to the right of you, not your physical side. And you notice a very, very tall armored figure standing there. Very, very tall, like 10, 12 feet tall. The armor itself is glistening, glowing in this kind of orange little light. He looks at you. He looks at this as a sword. The sword looks like it belongs to him. Much more than it belongs to you. And he kind of reaches his hand down and gestures towards you with his hand outstretched. Not towards the sword itself, but towards you. What would you like to do?
How far away is he?
He is right next to you.
Oh. Then I'll grab his hand, I would guess. Yeah.
Okay. He lifts you up. His other hand grabs your sword arm, grasping the sword. You feel the sword itself grow lighter. You start to feel power in your arm, in your shoulder. You feel you start swinging the sword naturally, cleaving through all 5 of the creatures. As he swings his sword with you, 6 more show up and you cleave through all of them effortlessly. 12 more are getting closer. You look down at the sword. It's no longer a sword. Fury is in your hand. You feel yourself bring it up. You take aim as both hands of this large armored being steady your shot. You feel the familiar presence of, or the familiar experience slowing your heart down. Inhaling, exhaling. And when you run out of breath, you squeeze the trigger. And that is where we are going to end it for tonight. Thank you so much, Winecraft Wednesday, for the raid. If any of you guys are still here, thank you for tuning in. I run D&D games every Wednesday. If you missed part of this episode, obviously, I do upload all of these to my YouTube channel. It's youtube.com/TrainerJody. Go over there. You can watch the entire series if you want, or just check out this episode if you want to know what happened earlier. It will be loaded on Sunday. Otherwise, on alternating weeks, I run this campaign and another campaign called Traversing the Veil. And this Saturday on twitch.tv/Zelda Universe, I will be running Realms of the Wild with Elias as one of the players. So definitely check that out. Otherwise, again, that is all for me today. And I will see you guys next time. All right? Bye-bye.